Hey everyone, welcome to my kitchen. It is April 30th and tonight we are going to make another new recipe from our latest Season's Best. It's called Veggie Tots. So this is one of the first recipes in the current Season's Best. All right, well let's get our Veggie Tots made. This is a little snack for the grandmas out there is that you might want to also keep on hand this recipe. And I think you could probably make these up ahead of time and then just bake them when you're ready. So we are going to get everything together. We have some frozen carrot. It's carrot, cauliflower, and broccoli that you're just going to cook up in the microwave or on the stovetop, whichever you prefer, and then you're going to let it cool. So again, if you want the recipe, just send me a DM and I'll get you the recipe. But it's pretty simple. These are frozen veggies. Absolutely no reason you can't use fresh. In retrospect, I have all three of these in my fridge and could have just used the fresh, but I also like following the recipe fairly closely to how it's written when I'm teaching so that y'all aren't like, wait, what did she say? So I did buy the frozen ones. So those are cooked and ready to go. We're going to be using the Twist and Chop. One of my team members asked me yesterday, so during the month of April, consultants can get a really deep discount on anything we want in the catalog. So it's a really good way for newer consultants in particular to add to their kitchen or add to the products that they want to be able to show to their customers. So one of my consultants texted me yesterday and she's like, I don't know, I have just about everything. Tell me what I need to, get while I've got this discount available. And I said, if you don't have the Twist and Chop, you have to get it. I like it even more than the air fryer. Not that I don't like the air fryer, but this thing is just like, oh, it's so good. So we're going to be using that and a few other choice things. So we've got our vegetables cooked and we're going to put them in here and just pulse them and get them chopped, not like really fine. It says chopped until pulse until they're chopped, but there's still some texture, about 5 to 6 pulses. So we're going to see how that looks. And I will say buying your veggies frozen is actually really smart if getting them fresh is difficult. Frozen veggies, frozen fruit is the next best thing to fresh that you can get because they're flash frozen literally usually within hours of being harvested. So especially your frozen fruit is as fresh as it's going to get from being harvested to your recipe. So same with your vegetables. So it's actually really good quality. They're fresh. They're frozen, but like they've been frozen at the peak of perfection. So it's actually really smart to get frozen vegetables if you don't have a kitchen garden or something like that. So this is a recipe that we are going to make in the air fryer. I think you could do it in your oven. I was originally planning to do it in my oven, but it does call for the air fry setting, which is a little different than typical oven settings. So I know there are cool new ovens out there that have the air fry setting. And if yours does, that might work. I do also think that it's a good idea. Air fryers, because they're small, you also have more direct heat. So for getting that crispy, crunchy edge that we want, I do think a smaller air fryer probably works better. So your countertop version is probably the better choice. And frankly, you're not heating up the entire kitchen or heating up an entire oven, even if it doesn't warm up your kitchen. All right, let's get these pulsed. So one thing I got to tell you that's really cool about the way this Twist and Chop works is that, you don't have to keep scraping it down because the way the blade goes up and down, it just incorporates everything in there. I am going to give it one little swipe here because there's a carrot up top that just was being contrary and refusing to go where it was supposed to be. But by and large, I had big chunks of cauliflower and broccoli in here, and it literally it took them all out. So let me just put this back on and do one more pulse. If you already have this in your kitchen and you're watching this, would you please comment below and tell me what you're using it for? Okay, I feel better about this. Oh, and then I hit it again. All right, take the lid off. I need to find a better way while I'm talking of remembering to take the lid off so I don't keep accidentally turning it back on. Oh, my word. Because once the lid's off, it will not turn on. All right, so we have our chopped veggies in seconds. Look at how beautiful. Can you see that? I mean, it's just amazing. And I'm going to move this baby out of the way. And we're going to finish the rest of our recipe. So we're going to take these chopped veggies and put them in a mixing bowl. One part of me really wanted to just do the whole thing in this container in the twist and chop, but I thought, I don't know, after my debacle a couple weeks ago with potato salad, I need to just follow the recipe. And when I'm not live, I'll try the cheat method, but I feel like that it would work because now we're just going to mix everything together. The issue might be that your vegetables will end up being chopped too small. So that might be why they don't recommend it. I can see where that could be a problem. All right. So we've got our vegetable mixture here. We are going to add a half a cup of panko and a quarter cup of Parmesan, fresh grated Parmesan cheese. So I'm going to get my measuring cups going here because I forgot to make sure I had those out. All right. And we're actually adding them right into the mix here. We're not like rolling them into anything. We're just adding them right in. Excuse me for the sniffle. And then we are also going to add a quarter cup of fresh grated Parmesan. So for that, there's a couple different graters you can use. I'm going to use this one because I do want a good amount. That also reminds me of visiting our daughter, Sarah, when she was first married 15 years ago now, which is hard to believe. And we're down visiting them at their apartment in Roslyn. And she asked me to grate Parmesan she was making chicken Parmesan, which is one of her favorite recipes to make. So she needed a quarter cup of grated Parmesan. And she brings out this box grater. And I'm looking at her and I was just like, where did you get this awful thing? And she says, well, Mom, they did have a bridal shower for me here in Virginia. And somebody gave me a box grater. And besides, I don't have a grater like this one. So, which, of course, I promptly went home and ordered her one. But I'm grating cheese with her box grater, and I'm like working at it for a solid 10 to 15 minutes. And I pick up the box grater thinking, she needed a cup grated. And I'm thinking, I must have a cup of grated cheese. And literally I had like a little teeny pile like this. And that was probably when I stopped and went online and ordered her a better grater. But there's just nothing like having a good sharp grater, especially when you're doing things like your hard cheese, because you do have to push down hard. And it does take a while. So this is the big one. I shouldn't say it takes a while. When you have a good grater, it doesn't take long at all. But it does take a strong tool. We do also have the smaller, and you've seen me use it, but just to clarify, this little guy and this little guy, take the cover off, it actually goes out flat. So this is ideal for when you just need a little bit. You're grating it over your salad or over some pasta or something. This is great, haha, no pun intended, for smaller batches of things. And then this baby is when you need to do a big amount. This was just a quarter cup, but like I said, my daughter, she needed a full cup. It took me, I don't know, 20 minutes. No wonder people buy their cheese already grated. But it's so much less expensive to buy it in a chunk and grate it yourself. It's fresher, it tastes better, and it's better for you because they haven't put fillers in to keep it from sticking together. Okay, there's that speech. We are done with that one. And what else? I feel like there should be garlic in here, and there's not, so I think I'm having an issue with that. But I can see where, with kiddos in particular, maybe adding garlic isn't such a good idea. We are going to add an egg. And we are going to add a half teaspoon of seasoning salt. So again, I forgot to have all my goodies out. There we go. And then we're going to mix this all together. Oops. And form it into little logs. And that is how we will make our little veggie tots. Another idea here is this would be a great recipe to make with kids. I find that my grandkids, my own children were this way, and my grandkids for sure are so much more inclined to eat something if they've helped make it. And I'll bet some of you have stories like that with your own kids or grandkids. My grandson in Virginia is such a great example. I got him completely addicted to eggs and kale a few years ago because I was making it, and then he wanted to help me make it. And he was like 6 years old at the time, and then from that day on, he had to have eggs and kale for breakfast every day. And my daughter was like, Mom, you created a monster. But, way better than even your high quality cereals still have a fair amount of sugar in them. And it's, so anyway, we still laugh about that. All right. If you watched last time, you saw me talk about this spiffy oil dispenser that I didn't even realize how cool it was. So we just need to brush the tray here with some oil. So I'm just like squirting up about, I don't know, it's just a few milliliters. So what does it say? A teaspoon? A teaspoon-ish. And what I'm going to do is I've got a cutting mat on my countertop. I'm putting the tray over the cutting mat, and I'm simply going to drizzle this over. This is because I don't want to have to get another bowl dirty. I think I want a little more than that. You want this on the cutting mat anyway, so why not make this easier? So just drizzling it over and then using the pastry brush to spread it out. And then we're going to make our little rolls. So you just take the smallest of the scoops. This is a little guy, and squish it together, kind of like you're working with Play-Doh, and make our little tots. Now, I am not going to make all of these in front of you because, you have better things to do with your time than watch me make 40 of these. And they are going to take about 16 minutes in the air fryer to cook. But let me give you some tips I am coming up with as I go along here. Number one, if you're using the stainless scoop, rather than trying to squish it together in your hand, push it into the scoop and squish it with the palm of your hand into the scoop. So it's getting compacted into the scoop. And then when you pop it out, it's a nice compact little guy. And you can shape it into logs. You could literally leave it just the way it was. You do not have, there's a word. You do not have to shape it into logs. You could literally just put these little guys on your tray here. But I think if you do shape them, and they just look a little more like tater tots, but they're not tater tots, they're veggie tots. So why is this important? I mean, for your children, this is just a fun way to get vegetables into them. They still need to be eating their carbs, right? That's an important thing. If you're eating high protein, low carb, your kids need to still be eating a lot of carbs. But this is such a good way to sneak vegetables in to something that, if they're picky eaters when it comes to that, or if you just have a hard time getting them in, vegetables into their diet. Anything fun, I found, was always a good idea. So I've just got 8 on here. I'm going to stop for now. Let me wash my hands. and we're going to pop them in. So this has been preheating back here, and I don't know if you can see, but it says add food. So she's been waiting for me to add the food. When I am doing a recipe like this that has stuff that can fall through, I always put a tray in the bottom to catch things because I really don't want a mess on the floor of the air fryer. And I just realized that extra rack is in there, and that's where this needs to go. So hold on a moment. This needs to come out. This is going to go in. So once you've preheated this air fryer, it'll wait about 10 minutes for you to finish your prep and get it in there. If it goes more than 10 minutes, it'll automatically turn off. So if you get distracted or busy, or your prep took longer than you thought it was going to, you may have to restart it if you don't get your food inside in time. And that's a safety feature, honestly, because you can imagine you set it and then you get distracted. You know, the phone rings, the dog barks, a kid has a crisis, whatever. And suddenly it's been a half hour and you realize you never finished putting the food in, and you don't want it to just run endlessly. So once you put the food back in, you push the button and it starts the countdown. And then once it's done, it will turn itself off. So you don't have to worry about this running endlessly. So that is that. Now, it does call for a couple different, or gives suggestions. It doesn't really call for this. But it gives suggestions for a couple different kinds of dipping sauces. So the one I thought I would make, only I forgot to grab the seasoning, is smoky barbecue and, well, yeah, here it is. Okay. So the one I thought I'd make would be a smoky barbecue, which is very simple. It's just about a half cup of mayonnaise and, what does it say? A teaspoon of the smoky barbecue rub. So some of the other ideas are ranch dressing and, what was the third one? Let me read them so I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Hey, I see Christine. I see Lois. I see 4 people on. So make sure you comment so I know you're here. And if you're watching the replay, comment as well. And then what I will do is tomorrow, ideally tomorrow, I will download this, clean it up, and post it to my YouTube channel. So if you are not following me on YouTube, I'll put that link in the comments so you can, actually I'll put it at the top. Anyway, I'll put the link in here so you can check that out as well. My YouTube following is pretty sad. I have not been working very hard at it, but it is time to get that going again. So we'll be doing that. So it's a half a cup of mayonnaise, I mentioned. The other idea is a half cup of ranch dressing and a teaspoon of garlic parmesan seasoning, which is one of my favorites, that garlic parmesan. So good. The third idea is a half cup of ketchup with everything taco seasoning. And I think that sounds like something that would be really fun, especially if you have family members who love ketchup on everything, or if you just want that tart. So I was looking at, it was spicy melon chunks at Wegmans today. It was dried melon, or I'm sorry, mango. Dried mango with some sort of spicy seasoning on it. And it looked so good. And I thought, I cannot buy these because I will eat them all. So if you like that sweet spicy, you might like that third one. So again, we're just going to take a little prep bowl here. Let me get this out of the way now that we're done with it. And I'm going to eyeball a half a cup of mayo. Actually, I'm not even going to make that much because we just won't eat that much. And then again, it calls for a teaspoon of barbecue sauce or smoky barbecue. I'm going to use about half of that because I'm only using about half the mayo. And I apparently needed to have gotten more scrapers out. So we're just going to mix this together for our dipping sauce. It smells like barbecue potato chips. So you could make up all kinds of dipping sauces. In fact, when I was looking for the smoky barbecue in the cupboard, I saw the street corn. That is my new obsession, the street corn seasoning. It's just so good. So any of those will work, but you get to decide what you want on yours. And there's our sauce. These will be done in about 10 minutes. As always, I'll post pictures. Thanks for joining me live, or if you're watching the recording, I would love to hear your thoughts on this recipe. Is this something you would make? Or are you like, no way, Jose? And let me know what other kinds of things you'd like to see me make. Next Thursday night, I will be in Ohio visiting my mom for Mother's Day. Not sure if I'm going to make it on live or not. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to go for my sister's kitchen. So it'll probably something short and sweet. But again, we have a lot of those great kinds of recipes in the current season's best. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should bring the slushy machine to my sister's. My sister is a slushy kind of girl. I mean, she is. She will love that thing. So yeah, that's what we'll do. I'll try to go live, but at the very least, I'll shoot a video and post it for next Thursday night. And then the following week, I should be back here and smooth sailing for several months now, I think, other than a family vacation in July and my national conference. I should be here. So we'll get back into the routine of our Thursday nights. So thanks again. Have a great evening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.